Excellencies, fellow citizens, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to warmly welcome each one of you to the celebration of our 45th anniversary. This is a significant milestone in ASEAN's history, a good moment to pause and reflect on how we are doing. In 1967, against the backdrop of the Cold War, ASEAN began with the modest aim of keeping the peace in Southeast Asia. Creating a framework for the peaceful development of the region has remained the key role of ASEAN throughout its subsequent development. National interests and interests of the region have had to be balanced and have led to an evolution of a two-tiered structure of interests. That is a crucial factor of ASEAN's durability, because we have to recognize each country's national interest. It's worth recalling something that our former Singapore Foreign Affairs Minister S. Rajaratnam said at the inaugural meeting of ASEAN 45 years ago, and I quote, "It is necessary for us, if we are really to be successful in giving to ASEAN, to marry national thinking with regional thinking. We must now think at two levels. We must think not only of our national interests, but posit them against regional interests." These words are still relevant 45 years on, as ASEAN faces an ever-changing global political and economic landscape. In fact, they are even more relevant now, given the greater integration and interconnectedness. This marriage of interests is the foundation of our organization. ASEAN has developed beyond all expectations since its creation, primarily because of its ability to maintain that balance. Let me talk about ASEAN today. ASEAN is now central in a regional architecture that includes groupings such as ASEAN Plus 3, ASEAN Regional Forum, as well as the East Asia Summit. ASEAN's aims have expanded beyond economic integration to include accelerating economic growth and enhancing socio-economic development. To integrate the economies of ASEAN member states, we have proactively reduced barriers to trade and investment through initiatives such as the ASEAN Free Trade Area. 99% of tariff lines have been brought down close to zero. ASEAN now has a combined market of 600 million people, the size of the European Union, and a GDP of almost $1.8 trillion, the third largest in Asia, on par with India and after China and Japan. On the socio-cultural front, ASEAN has continuously promoted people-to-people linkages, greater cross-cultural understanding, and the development of a stronger sense of common identity among ASEAN people. ASEAN has pursued programs such as the recent ASEAN drawing contest involving youth from all member states. Some of the drawings submitted by young Singaporeans are on display here tonight, as are some of the budding artists behind them. These are among the initiatives that have strengthened ASEAN, enabling it to overcome many challenges, including, in the last 15 years or so, the 1997 financial crisis, the SARS epidemic, the 2004 Asian tsunami. But inevitably, there will always be new and further challenges. The 2008 global financial crisis has resulted in a reordering of the global landscape, which in turn presents several qualitative challenges. It remains urgent for us now, as it was then, to heed the words of Mr. Rajaratnam and recognize the interdependence between our national and regional interests when we consider the problems facing the region. In this vein, it was regrettable that ASEAN failed to issue a joint communique at the end of its ministerial meeting in Phnom Penh last month. That has dented ASEAN's credibility. However, thanks to the considerable efforts of Indonesia and the support of ASEAN member states, the ASEAN Foreign Minister Statement on ASEAN's 6-point principles on South China Sea was released on 20th of July 2012. We regrouped to some extent to buttress ASEAN unity and centrality. ASEAN as a whole has to be bigger than any single issue. We are now consulting with fellow ASEAN member states on how to handle the draft joint communique, which contains many areas of agreement between us on how to move on towards our goal of building an ASEAN community by 2015. We have to keep up the momentum on key initiatives such as the Master Plan on ASEAN connectivity and the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. ASEAN must continue to build on our areas of common interest, learn from our lessons, and work to reinforce and strengthen ASEAN unity, centrality, and credibility. I am confident that we will seek to rise to that challenge. Nevertheless, it is a reality that after what transpired at the 45th AMM, ASEAN will be judged by the world on our ability to manage a consensus on South China Sea. ASEAN has 10 sovereign members. There will inevitably be bilateral issues both amongst ASEAN countries as well as with other countries. All states need to be able to come together and take a neutral and unified position which favors peace and the continued development of ASEAN. Looking ahead, for ASEAN to be successful in building a people-centered community, ASEAN will need the participation and contribution of its young people. Approximately 40% of ASEAN's population is below the age of 20. It is for them that ASEAN is being strengthened. It will be they who will in turn steer ASEAN's future. In this regard, the Singapore ASEAN Youth Fund has promoted greater interaction among the youth in ASEAN through supporting partnerships among ASEAN youth organizations. It is right to imbue in our ASEAN youth a greater sense of ASEAN identity. I am heartened to see many young people from our ASEAN member states here tonight. We are slowly but surely establishing an ASEAN community from the ground up. Our efforts are intended to build an enduring sense of regional fraternity grounded in national awareness. I am confident that we will achieve our common goal. I wish everyone here a very happy 45th ASEAN Day. Thank you.